Welcome to our podcast today. Champions are built, and this is Coach EJ, Eric Johnson.
And this is Coach Aaron Thigpen, the source. Today, guys, we have a guest with us. Young man I've known for quite a long time, probably since you were in middle school, when you were running a CYO track. But Antioch native, Isiaiah Foskey, he's now playing for the New Orleans Saints. He was a 2023 second-round draft pick out of Notre Dame. For those of you guys who are Notre Dame fans, and I've got quite a few in my gym, you guys will like to hear that. And actually at Notre Dame, he is the all-time sack leader. Before going to Notre Dame, he was at De La Salle. So local product that's made it to the big time and is at least getting his start at the big time. And he's been kind enough to join us today to give us some insights on his career as an athlete, his career as a football player, and maybe impart some words of wisdom to some of our younger athletes out there. So thanks for joining us, Isiaiah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I guess let's start here. We'll kind of ease into this. Tell us about your playing sports growing up. You know, what different sports did you play? What kind of moved you to football eventually? And, that sort of thing.
Growing up, I guess you can count karate as a sport. So I think like the very first sport I did was karate. My dad put me into it. Did karate for probably a year or two. Started doing that. That was like my first experience with sports, doing anything athletic. I was probably 8 years old, maybe even younger than that. But that's when I started first doing sports. Then I started running track. I started playing football when I was a young age, like 10 and 11, 12 years old, somewhere around there. Started playing football, and I just matched football with track. Me and my dad did. And I just felt like that always just went hand in hand, like football and track. So I started doing that, running track all the way through going to high school. I ran track for 1 year in high school, my sophomore year. But then football just took away after that. Like going into football, no one really pushed me to play football. No one really told me to play football. My whole family at that time, like no one knew about football. Like they knew about football, but like no one knew about like NFL, college, high school, like the sport in general. Only I did. Mm-hmm. And I just remember the first time I really decided I wanted to play football. It was just after school at Pioneer High School, or Pioneer Middle School. I don't even know if that's elementary school. I don't know if that's still there or not. But playing all the way in the back towards the fence. We were playing tackle football. We weren't supposed to, though. We weren't supposed to play tackle football. After school, we weren't supposed to play. And since, like, it was just like a group of us, our parents are usually, like, late. We got picked up later. People had to work, like, schedules. So we just go play football. And we're just, like, tackling each other into the fence, tackling each other into the ground, into the gravel. And I feel like that was, like, the first time I, like, actually just fell in love with football. I told my dad, I came back. I want to play football. Brought me to tackle football at Deer Valley, and that's where it all just started.
Mm-hmm. So you're like the contact fan.
Yeah. I started like
contact. Now, it's funny. Go ahead.
That just got me. I don't know why. Like, I guess just tackling. It just kind of just drawn to me.
Oh, it's done you in good stead. I mean, hey, you're the all-time sack leader at Notre Dame. Jeez, that's a big compliment. It's funny you mentioned that you have a background in karate because you were just in the gym yesterday, and for the first time I said, okay, let's do some bag kicks. And I'm looking I'm looking over there, and I'm hearing this boom, boom. And I'm like, watching you kick the bag, I was like, this guy can kick. He was kicking like Black Belt Jones. Like, and now I know. You didn't spill the beans that you already knew. Knew some karate. But yeah, I go over there just smacking that thing. I'm like, okay. I thought I'd done something. I was like, man, I like this drill for him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Hey, Isaiah, because you played karate, because you participated in karate, what belt do you have? Did you go all the way to black belt, or would you?
I only did it for, I think, like 2 years. I only got to yellow.
Right.
I just started doing that. But then I feel like after karate, I started focusing more on football. And then I just not gave up on karate, but I just wanted to play football and track.
Right. How did karate help you with football? Because you're a professional athlete, man, and I think a lot of our early influences in sports help us with stuff. And obviously, world-class friend and I played Major League Baseball. We go back to those things and we talk about what we did when we were really young and how athlete we were, and that really helped us in our profession later. So how did that help you, and what did other sports do for you to get you where you're at today?
That was a question I probably never have been asked before, like what karate done for me. But thinking back now, I feel like that karate was like the ground point for me, like with the mentality of like trying to push through pain and like working hard and just keep like pretty much just working hard. That was like the main thing with karate. Like you feel pain, but like pain is temporary, pride is forever type like feeling. Like there's pain, but it's like unbearable pain. There's like soreness, but there's like you can't walk, and like pushing through those type of like mental barriers. I feel like that was like the starting point for me. But in karate, they were trying to break you down. So like to get to the next belt, they break you down and see how far you can like go and see if you're ready for that next belt. That's what my experience was, going from white belt to yellow belt, or trying to get my white belt too. But I feel like that was the ground for me, and I feel like that just built on into track and football in any sport, because you're gonna have to fight through some pain, fight through some soreness, and karate was the standard for me to like the starting point for me to like really like grow from that. But he went off the track, running faster, but I was always sore in track. Like running, my hamstrings were always sore, but I knew I can still run. Football is contact sport. It's like you guys, any football player, during the season, you're just like really never 100% healthy. There's always something lingering or hurting. And it's like sometimes like the little things don't even like bothering me no more. It has to be something major for something to bother me. And I feel like that just goes to like mental toughness that just was pretty much implemented and built onto me.
Now, EJ anticipated the second part of my question. That's why I love working with this guy, because even if I forget the question, I know he's going to pick it up. So he basically answered what I was going to ask. But, I met you when we were running CYO tracks. My kids were also running CYO.
Yeah.
And were you a 400-meter runner? Can't remember. What did you compete in?
I don't always run at the 400. I know. Didn't you always make me run the 400? Not in the track meets, but in practice, you always run the 400.
Well, that was my training, but I couldn't remember. That. Yeah.
I remember me always running 400s. I'm not sure if I competed in it, but I know I did the 100, 200. I think the 300 sometimes if they did it in that advance. But yeah, it was just mainly 100, 200.
But you said as you started to move towards football, track still became an important part. And is that because of the speed aspect of it, and you wanted to keep your speed up for the game, and you thought that was kind of a valuable way of, improving your football? Or was it just, hey, I just happen to like track?
It was like pretty much both. Like, I just always knew running track would help me with football, and I always want to do anything that will help me with football. And like, I just know I'm always running in football. My conditioning always have to be up, so that helps me with, track helps me with that. Well, at the time, top end speed was like the best thing for me, so I want to get my speed faster. Acceleration was the best thing for me, so I ran track still. My get off for defensive end, that was the best thing for me. And being explosive, I feel like track will help me with that, so I stuck with it. And I stuck with it all the way through high school. Then I was like, all right, let me focus on football. But I feel like that was when I wish I ran more track in high school. That was one thing I wish I did. I will go back and run more track in high school. Even though I went back my sophomore year, I wish I did like at least freshman, sophomore, junior year. To just keep running track and keep building speed and be more explosive, be faster on the field.
EJ, did you have a question? Because I've got to kind of follow up to that.
No, you go to the follow-up, Aaron, because I like what he said there.
And that kind of segues into one of the things I was going to ask you in terms of, I get a lot of football players too, but most of them don't embrace the running. They don't embrace,
especially big guys.
And you are kind of not an anomaly, but you're not the normal football player. Because you have athletes who are track athletes who then convert to football. And you have football athletes who've also run track and they embrace it. But for the most part, I find a lot of football athletes still don't embrace running track. And it sounds like track has kind of put you in good stead for all. You understand all of the things that you were getting out of track that have helped you with your football. I'm glad you articulated that, because I think more kids need to, even if it's not on a highly competitive nature, I think a lot more kids should be running track or doing some kind of organized speed training to help, in something like football. Because my next question is, what are those separation points going from high school to college and college to pros? What are those aspects? A lot of times, and I don't want to answer it for you, but a lot of times when I talk to guys in your to your level, have always talked about the speed of the game. And even with something like baseball, me and EJ talk about, there's a physicality aspect, but what seems to make the biggest jump is the speed of the game. I'm not just talking about from a running fast standpoint, but the game does get faster. You have to process information faster. The guys are faster. Have you found that to be the case moving from high school to college, a big time college program, and from a big time college program to the pros? Because you've basically been at the elite level at each point.
I feel like the speed of the game was faster. Like that was a thing that was like a difference maker. But for me in my position, I feel like the biggest thing was from high school to college. High school, I was bigger, faster, stronger than probably 80% of the people I went against all the time. College, I was bigger, faster, stronger than maybe 50% of the people. Now, from like college to the NFL, it's like even out. Like it's like everyone's the same size as me or bigger. Like I'm going against people that are 300 plus pounds than me. I feel like they're guaranteed stronger than me, but they're old linemen. Like they're big, fat guys. But the one thing I have advantage of is just my athleticism, my speed. So that's like, I feel like that's what I am, is speed, and then the speed to power type of thing. So I can just always use that. But I feel like the biggest difference was how bigger the guys were, and people being the same size as me or being bigger than I am. And not even just the people I was going against, like my teammates were the same size as me. And the people I'm competing against, even for a position battle, they're the same size as me or bigger. Like the competition level goes up like significantly from college to the pros, even from high school to college. Like everything just increases from there.
Would you say that you also had to make bigger jumps mentally in how you approach the game, and also just in your preparation, not just from a training standpoint, but maybe taking care of your body better now? Obviously, you do this for a living now, but the margin for error is much bigger high school, college than, at pros. We were just talking about it off camera when we were talking about getting faster in track, where that margin for improvement and that margin of error gets smaller and smaller and narrower and narrower.
Yeah, it does. I feel like my eating wise and like how I went about like taking care of my body and everything from high school didn't care about it. I just did whatever I did, ate whatever I ate, did no recovery, just lifted whatever they told me. I did like the extra work was just on the field, but like no mobility, no stretching, no extra lifting if I needed to. It was just extra route running or extra pass rush, like that type of stuff. And then going to college, I noticed that stuff wasn't going to work no more. I still had to do it, but I always had to do more stretching, more mobility. But I wasn't into the eating yet, though. That was one thing I figured out towards my senior year of college. I was like, all right, I need to be more professional about this. Like, I'm going to NFL. These are professionals going against 20-something-year-olds, 30-year-olds. Like, that's what it is. I always heard it my whole entire life. You had to be more professional in the NFL. And that has to do with eating. So that's why I started focusing more on eating, started stretching more, started doing mobility, doing things outside the box. I started doing boxing more. It was just like everything I needed to do to maintain my body for the NFL and like the longevity of it. I started like really listening to people when they told me you need to do this and that. And in high school, people told me I need to do this and that, but I was like, oh, I'm young. Like, I don't feel like I'm sore, but I'm not that sore. I'll be fine tomorrow. Or like my hips are tight, but I'll be fine the next day. So it's cool. Or I can just play through it. But that's when, like each level, that's when I started being more mature about my body and really started focusing on it to make myself feel good. But I'm doing all this stuff and my body just feels a lot better. I can't even imagine what I would be doing if I did all this in high school. I don't know where my body would be like right now. I'd be probably so flexible and like moving great, like something that everybody wants to do.
You know, Isaiah and Aaron, you know, it's kind of funny. As champions are built, we talk about, you know, these commonalities a lot with athletes and how much they adjust. You know, and it sounds like you're adjusting. You know, you adjusted from high school to college, now college to the pro game, and that's a common trait that we see with, you know, professional athletes or people that are trying to achieve greatness. What drives you, man, to be as dedicated as you are and focused as you are? What drives you? What's inside you, man?
For me, it's just the drive just to become great. Like I was saying before, no one told me to play football. No one pushed me to play football. No one pushed me to play any sports. It was just my inner drive to play the sport at first. Then I was like, all right, I want to be good at the sport. So my dad started putting me into like track, putting me into being coached by like actual football players, coach me extra on the side. Then I started doing stuff on my own, trying to become great. That was like always my drive since I was little, just to always become. First it was good, now I want to become great. Now I want to become the best. And I just know all this stuff I have to do. Like I was saying this a couple of days before to someone else. Like there's a blueprint for everything. It's just the will and the drive to actually do it. Like people know you always have to work hard. Some people you have to work hard than others. Like some people are just naturally gifted. They don't need to work that hard. But it's always working hard and doing the extra little things and just doing it over and over again. So it just comes second nature. Like with football, it just comes second nature. Or we just see it so many times. Like people know it. People know what to do. It's just the will and the drive to actually do it. That's like the biggest thing. I just always try to focus back on that. Yeah. I always try to go back to mentalities. When I was in high school, when I'm in middle school, like to always work hard all the time. But I feel like people in NFL, they feel like they made it. Like always is their mentality when they're a young kid, just, oh, I want to go to NFL, or I want to go to MLB. I want to go to NBA. They make it there, like I did last year. I made it. I don't want to have that mentality, oh, I just made it, or I'm good now. Yeah. Like that drive to become the best now is to become the best in the NFL.
Right.
That's like my mentality. So I know what to do to become the best in the NFL. So I'm learning from other people, building connections, going back to Thigpen, running track, Like these are stuff I know I need to do.
That's good. That's good. I love that, man. That's great. That's great. I love to hear that, man. Gets me tired. Makes me want to get out there and do something. I'm a little too old for that, but you know.
No, you can probably still do it though.
you hit on something I think
that
that resonated with me, and I think resonated with EJ. And it's funny because a lot of these guys we talk to on our Champions Are Built series kind of also have that same mentality, and it usually strikes us early when we're younger, is the drive to want to be great.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just about being good. It's not just about winning, but there's something about that drive to want to be great, whether you achieve it or not. And everyone's going to measure that by different standards. But there's that inner drive. You said that I wanted to be great at this. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's kind of, like you said, that's that fuel that drives that inner engine in you that keeps you going, keeps you motivated and striving for excellence. Wherever that leads you, there's the aspect of longevity. No matter how gifted you are, you want longevity in the sport. And I think that's what you're saying. It's like, okay, to be great, I got to be in the sport for a long time. Yeah. And that means I've got to manage my body. So I've got to eat better. I've got to train better. I've got to see the right people. And that's something you understand, even though you're there at that level looking at your peers who may not even have that same mindset.
Yeah.
So,
but like I feel like another thing that drives me too, well, not really drives me, but I don't want to keep going and look back and regret like something.
Yeah, it is.
Regret it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I did a little bit more this off season. And then going into the season, like, man, I should have did more. I should have cut my vacation just a little bit shorter so I can get started a little faster. I shouldn't have took so many breaks. I like that point messes with me so much. I feel like I do not want to have that feeling whatsoever. So I put everything into like my workouts, my schedule, and do it. So I don't want to have to look back and say, man, I could have done more. And it's just that hard feeling that you have.
Amen. Hallelujah, dude. You're speaking to the choir. That's the same. That's another common trait that I've seen in every athlete that's had gone to the level you have and wanted to move on. You don't want to end. You want to end your career on your terms, and you don't want to have regrets.
Yeah.
And there's a mentality there, people. If you guys are listening to this, and these are personal decisions. They're not about the physical. They're not about the tactical. He hasn't mentioned one thing about, I made my pass rush better because I, learned to swim move. These are these internal things that you have to ask yourself. This is what, if I want this is what I got to commit to. And those are just decisions. So that's why you got me jumping on my seat. Hallelujah. I love that. It just resonates so deeply.
Yeah. Aaron, it's funny because, you and I talk about this every day in the gym, and we talk about the mentality you need to have to be great at anything you do. And the mentality about not only the hard work and all that stuff, but having a plan. He said a blueprint. The key word for me is he said blueprint. And I said, this guy's got a plan. And as we talk to all these athletes and all the people out there listening to, these athletes have a plan, people. They're going to have a plan, not only in their sport, but in life. And I think that's important, that plan, the desire to be great, the ability to say, I don't want to leave anything on the table. I want to do everything I can to be the best, and I don't want to regret it when I quit. And I tell young athletes this all the time, the game is going to end one day. And when it does, you want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I did everything in my will to do the best I could, and I don't regret anything. And when you walk away from those situations like that, you put your heart into it. And I love that, man. Isaiah, I love that. Hey, yeah, I don't know if that's from De La Salle training or not. I'm alumnus of De La Salle. I'm just going to throw it out there right now. Spartan. Go Spartans. Let's go.
And I think that same mentality, and I'll tell you this probably as, as the old guy talking to young guy, you'll always feel like there's unfinished business.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll always, EJ may be able to speak to this too.
Yes.
You'll always feel like there's unfinished business.
Yes.
But it's the thing that drives you. And I'm so happy to hear that you have that mentality, because you're going to go a long way with that, with your talent and in the way you're going about things. But I did want to end, I know we're getting close to our time. I did want to end with something, I guess, a little more technical, because I know people like to have some nuts and bolts out of this. But I wanted to ask you, can you describe what a typical training day in college looked like and what a typical training day and the pros look like? Because I think there's this misconception about how much work is really done and maybe, you know, like what intensities or the quality, because I say it I hear it all the time. Well, I had practice today, so I think that was enough. I don't think I need to go weight train.
Yeah.
Or I weight train today, so I don't think I need to go practice. You know, it's kind of like this either or versus all of this should be involved. And so instead of hearing it from me from a preaching standpoint, describe to us what your typical days are. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm antiquated in my thinking. But
No. Well, I'm gonna exclude like school. Like school took about like a good portion of it in college, but I'm gonna exclude that part, just the training part of it. Like training during the season, I'll go during the season in college and NFL. Like during the season, we're practicing like about 2 hours. And I feel like from college to the NFL, there's more practicing the actual plays over and over again. And the NFL is more just like you just practice a play maybe once or twice in that practice, and then the rest is mental. Like you just gotta know it type of feeling. But in college, it's like you're working. I feel like college like workouts are way different than the pros, because in the pros they expect you to work hard after practice, or expect you to work hard and get whatever you need to do to be ready for the game. In college, they do everything with the whole team. They make practice hard. They don't want to be left. They don't want it to be left to you to like work hard after practice or after the workout or anything. They want you to be ready for the game. In NFL, everything is like it's on you to do it.
More personal accountability.
Yeah. So you need to have a schedule.
Yeah.
You need to know what you need to do to be ready for the game, because, like you said before, like the level of mistake in the NFL, you make a mistake or you're not available, next person up, like, and then they have an opportunity. They have a phenomenal game. You might have to wait your turn till they mess up or they get hurt or they just blow out or miss out on opportunity. Like, there's like a level of mistake that you cannot have in the pros. And that just goes back to like taking care of your body and not being available when you are available and making the most of the opportunity. But in the NFL, that was just, everything is just, like you said, like personal accountability that you're going to be good for the game. In college, they took it upon themselves, the coaches and the strength coaches, everyone, to like make practices hard or do everything you need to do, but it's on their type of schedule. So
you go from a more structured environment to a lesser structured environment, but more accountability.
Yeah, like if you just don't do it, it's pretty much going to show. It's going to show off in the game or during practice. Yeah, it's going to show.
Yeah. You have to be a professional, and you got to be a professional, and you got to be ready. And when your number's called, you better be there. If not, someone gets the opportunity.
Exactly. People say it over and over again.
So athletes out there, start to develop those traits now. Start to develop those traits about being organized, managing your body correctly, being accountable for what you need to do to get better, because it is your career. And
it won't go away either, too. Like you're gonna have all this stuff you're gonna have to do is not like questionable. Like it's not gonna go away.
Hey, word to the wise, guys. This guy's giving you what we call cheat codes.
Yes, absolutely.
Give me part of his blueprint.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his new nickname, Blueprint. I like that. I see. I'm gonna say Blueprint. What's up, Blueprint? That's my man.
I like that.
Cool.
Well, hey, EJ, do you have anything else to add? I know that's our time. Didn't want to take you too long here, but really appreciate you sitting down with us, man. And
no problem.
Wish you continued success. I'll see you in the gym. And you're going to show me some more of those karate moves now that we're bad
Right,
kids.
no.
Yeah, I want to see if you remember any of your katas.
That's great. Well, with that said, thanks again to our guest, Isiaiah Foskey. And this is Coach EJ with Champions Are Built, known as The Brand.
And this is Coach Aaron Thigpen, the Source. We'll see you.